Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are now tuned in with Gay Point with 2V Streams. Make sure you subscribe to us if you're not already subscribed to us. With us here today is Mr. Carlton White, a New Haven High School Baseball Hall of Famer. I'm going to jump right into it, man. I got two questions for you. What school did you play for, and when did you play?
Well, I played for Wilbercross from 1978 to 1980. That was my 2 years I played in cross. My freshman year, actually, I didn't want to play. Frank Morgillo, which was the baseball coach at the time, heard about me playing, and he came to my class and wanted me to play. I denied him my freshman year, and then my sophomore year, he came back, and I told him I didn't want to play JV. He said, "Let me see what you got." I showed him what I got. It was like men against the boys.
Okay. Tell me a little bit, what was cross like back then? Because I'm pretty sure it's way different than today.
Well, cross was like a family. It was diverse. We had a little bit of everybody in the classroom. It was pretty much mixed. We had white, blacks, Hispanics. There was some Chinese people, so we had a little bit of everybody.
Okay.
It was a melting pot actually for the schools in New Haven.
Okay, got it. I see you got your pinky ring is blinging. What's that? A high school ring?
Yeah, in 1979, Wilbur Cross, I had this little radio I used to keep on my shoulder, and I was playing "Ain't No Stopping Us Now," and that became the theme song for the baseball team.
Okay.
So by me playing that, we came out pretty slow. We lost our first couple of games, went in center field, had a big meeting without the coach. Then we became one unit, and it was history. We went all the way, won the regions, went to the semifinals.
Oh, wow.
And, this is a school that has never been that far since the history, even before I was born. So we were a basketball school. Come to our school, you find all the basketball pennants, some of the great basketball players. But baseball, I played with a great nucleus of guys.
Okay.
We had some guys from Fairhaven that had some supernatural talent. And then here I come with my inner city kids from Ashland Street Projects, and we uplifted the team. And next thing you know, regions, and I now rock a Hall of Fame ring.
Oh, so you were the man.
I was one of the men,
One
you
of-
know what I'm
okay,
saying? Because
okay.
baseball is always a team sport,
Definitely.
because there's no I in team. There's an I in my last name, though, C. White. But yeah, I played with some great guys, man. There was Daniel Barnes, one of the great pitchers during that year. Abel Candelario, this kid came from Puerto Rico his senior year, man, and he was a blessing to our team. So that was a 1-2 punch on the mound. I played first. You had, my man Mike Jackson. Mike Jackson played shortstop. He was like Ozzie Smith, man. He was one of the greatest shortstop I played with. Also had the pleasure of playing with him in our adult years with the New Haven Cardinals as well. We had Thomas Ford play second. Poogie played a little third when he wasn't on the mound. Gerard Gray, he was our power man. Andre Agnew. And then one of the greatest baseball players I had the pleasure of playing with at the time was Ismael Rosario. He was from Fairhaven. His sophomore year at Wilbercross, the Cincinnati Reds came down. They wanted him. So we had a good nucleus. We had a good team. Greg Smith. We had some great guys, man. And we just did our thing that year, man. And we knew that was our year, man. But the semifinal for the state, man, we just slipped up. We lost 1-0, man. So
Sound like I had a family going on. Like I could imagine the team chemistry was great.
it was a family. We was doing our thing. And when the nucleus came together, man, it was over. It was over.
Definitely. Can you recall what a practice was like back then?
Ah, man. So we had a couple of guys, man. Glenn McNeil, man. Glenn Mack was my man. He was my man. So Frank, which is our coach, Frank Mangello, he didn't take it easy on us, man, because a couple of guys used to go up to the mountains, and we had East Rock which is by a baseball field. They used to go up there before practice, you know, tote a little bit.
Yeah.
And so he came to and he saw that these guys were, and he didn't know holy man. He used to try to kill us with the ball. He would hit the ball hard as grown man hitting the ball to us hard as he could, man. But the practice went good, man, and we was just there, man. We was just it was like it was no bark, man. Glenn McNeil, he was one of the guys from that 1973 Walter Pop Smith to the World Series. Andre Agnew was another one. And bringing those two guys, that nucleus was just tough. It was tough to beat.
When were you inducted to the Hall of Fame?
I think it was 2017, which was, it was well deserved. Our baseball team, 1979, World Cross baseball team got inducted in, and it was well deserved, man, because since 1979, here we are in 2022, hasn't been repeated. That's a tough task, man, because we're not a baseball school. Unfortunately, somewhere between Walter Pop Smith and high school, we lose a bunch of kids in baseball because, we had a couple of Pop Smith teams that did very well.
Yeah.
After that great team in 1973, we had a bunch of teams that did good. And get to high school and those kids, we lose them because it was late 90s. I started coaching Hill House.
Yeah.
And I noticed that there wasn't a lot of kids that came out, So I know somewhere along the line between Pop Smith and high school, we're losing these kids, man, and we have to do a better job. I know Babe Ruth, we used to have Babe Ruth, but I think that's missing, that piece is missing, because that's how kids got integrated into high school. So, they may have to bring that back because, or if they do, I'm not sure where it is.
What was one of the reasons you think you were losing the kids from the Pop Warner going into high school?
Well, there's a lot of barriers in the city our kids face. Our kids today are dealing with a lot more things than we had to deal with when we were kids. Kids today, they're exercising with their index finger. They're pulling gats.
Yeah.
Back in our day, we exercised with our minds because we had to be creative with what we wanted to do, the games we created. Just use your imagination what your day-to-day activities were going to be like.
Yeah.
Nowadays, either we doing the thumbs or we doing the index finger, and they both got you stagnant because you're not moving. There's no movement.
Yeah.
You have to get up and get out the house and get the movement going.
I agree.
Read the papers. They have phones. Today, I wish we had phones. We went to the library, and the only time we use our index fingers when we're looking at the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E to D, F, C, D, and we just went on and on and on, where you guys have more than an almanac in your hand. This phone has everything in
A
it.
lot of power.
But we get distorted by some of these apps, TikTok. What are our girls doing on TikTok? Our girls are dancing on TikTok, and and then there's fights on TikTok when you could be looking up stuff to know your next move. What do you want to do when you grow up? What do you want to become? You want to become a doctor. Okay, you got a phone that could tell you step by step how to become a doctor, how many schools you have to go to, things you have to do. You have it right here, access right in your hands, but our kids choose not. And it's unfortunate, but I just I was gracious enough. God, He granted me a couple of beautiful children, and they're doing their thing, and I just look at it like my kids are no different than anybody else's kids. So if my kids can do it, so can yours.
Definitely.
I tell people all the time, invest in your kids. That's when dividends are paid.
Yep, I agree, 100%. You mentioned your children. Did they play any sports?
Well, my son played basketball for Hampton High. My daughter, she's just a guru, man. She works for the government down there.
Word. Okay.
She's in VA. My son, he played basketball. My other son, he played basketball when he was in high school. Then he did a little basketball in college. He played with Albertus Magnus.
Okay.
But other than that, they about that money now. They all got their places, man. One has a condo. My son has a house, and my daughter has a house. And then, they about that money now. So, but they got, my son has a beautiful family. Both of my sons have got beautiful families. I have four beautiful grandchildren. Both of our sons got two. My wife's son got two kids, two daughters, and my son got two daughters. And unfortunately, earlier this year, I lost a daughter with her three children. So it's been tough. It's been tough. It's been a long year, and I'm looking for, 2, 3 to be different.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You must be real proud as a father.
And listen, I got a grandson now that plays basketball. So, I love sports. And I'm looking for the time when I retire. I'm gonna get right into it. I'm gonna coach somebody somewhere.
Definitely.
Because I played them all. I played baseball, basketball, and football, man. And I want to do something. I want to do something. I've always worked with kids my entire life. Ran juvenile programs forever. When I was in New Haven, working out of the Dixwell Community House, probably one of the longest members of the Q House. My first job, 1976, never forget it. And then 2000 when they shut it down. So I had a long reign there, helping families. I mean, we did so much in the community, man. It was like, coming from Ashland Street Projects, that's where I grew up at.
Yeah.
Coming from there, less fortunate, no father in my life. It made me want to do great things. You know what I mean? I know a lot of kids, they're missing parents, and they use it as a crutch.
Yeah.
And to all the parents, all the kids out there that don't have a mother or a father, use it as a stepping stone and take those blocks and put them on top of each other. And once you climb on top, you stand on top of the world.
Definitely. Tell me, what was it like growing up in New Haven?
Well, it was, during my years, it was tough. A little different than now. Unfortunately for us growing up, we didn't have to deal with a lot of the barriers you guys have to deal with.
Definitely.
In the inner city, there was, drugs being exploited into the inner city, and the drugs were supposed to take us out of our mind. At least that's what they thought. And there was some people that were smart enough to take the drugs, and they didn't use it; they sold it.
Yeah.
And then money was being made, and money was really being made. So we didn't have as much of the violence that you guys have. We had violence.
Yeah,
it was violence, but now all you guys have is violence.
Yeah.
Because even the ones that are out there now, selling, they're not making as much as the ones back then.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's because somehow the drugs got cut in half, put back in the community, and then box of guns flooded.
Yep, I heard
So
stories
now it's like
that.
fight over this,
Yeah.
and we've been fighting over it ever since. My thing is, as a people, we need to come together. We complain about so many things, and when you complain about things, you're part of the problem. Be part of the solution.
100%.
Don't complain about it. Come up with a plan. Get together with like-minded people. Create a plan, because 4 minds are better than one. And that's one of the things that I do every Wednesday night. I'm part of an organization called Chop It Up.
Chop it up.
Every Wednesday night, a bunch of black males get together on the phone, and we talk about issues in the hood and ways that we can circumvent some of these issues. Which is a great thing. So being part of something or creating it yourself, and just get some, like I said, like-minded guys like you, because you young generation, you guys are intelligent, but you're not utilizing your skill set.
Yeah.
You're not utilizing your skill set. So
How did you stay away from the drugs and the money during the 80s and 90s? Because I'm sure it's pretty tempting.
man, listen, I kid you not. It was tough.
Yeah,
It was tough.
definitely.
It was tough. But for me though, I had to take the the bumps and the bruises in the road,
Definitely.
because that was the road I was on. I had to take the bumps and the bruises. I utilized sports. Like I said, we had to utilize our mind. So we got creative. And I'm going to tell you, when it snowed, I got the shovel, clean off the court.
Oh wow.
And the rain didn't matter. I'm in the mud. I had my Ashton Street buddies come out there, and we in the mud, the snow, freezing on the ice. We did everything. It didn't matter what the temperature was like. It could be 100 degrees. It could be below zero. Because that was the determination we had in the inner city. That was that fight, that drive. And we kept on. We kept on with that fight and that drive, and we wanted more than what was offered to us.
Definitely.
We was in this structured bubble, and they wanted to keep us there. They gave us food stamps.
Yeah.
You can't spend food stamps in the mall. So we had to go to our community store, and then with the change, they would write like 15 cents on a piece of paper and give it to you. That's your change. Because they wouldn't give you regular change with food stamps. We wanted to get out of there.
Definitely.
We wanted to get out of there. So we all got creative, man. We all got creative. We stayed one. I mean, we might have, knuckled it up at times. And then, your lip busted, my eye black. We got up, we dapped up, and then we kept playing.
Definitely.
The big guys would make sure that we was civil after.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to take this and bring it until tomorrow and go into the school and then, take it to the park. We're not doing that. We're gonna settle it right here. And once it's over, we knuckle up and let's go. And that's and that's what it was about in my year. Unfortunately now,
Yes.
you guys bring it to the school, you bring it to the park, you just mess it up for everybody. New Haven should be having things. I mean, we're a great city. We're a great city, and we need the young generation to understand that. Whatever your issues are, you have to overcome them because you're not going to be a kid for the rest of your life. And when you grow up and that man that you become, that's the man that you're cheating. You're cheating him. Because once you get in trouble and then the people before you, they tell you their story. Hey, look, I got in trouble. I got a criminal record. I can't even find a job. If a grown man tells you that, as a kid, put that in the forefront, not in the back. Put it in the forefront and remember that. Because if I get arrested and I tell you I can't find a job, you're going to be faced with the same issues if you get arrested. Stay away from it.
That's true.
Stay away from it. My friends wanted to go out, and trust me, I had friends who wanted to do all that stuff, but then I had other friends that didn't, and those are the cats I rock with.
Definitely. Yeah, I get that a lot.
I rock with that. My man Jay Stephen Joseph, I rock with him. Man Norm Walters, I rock with him. Anthony Cogdell, I rock with him. Phillip Brooks, I rock with him. These cats were like-minded. So we didn't have to go through all that stuff of, turning on one another. We helped each other out.
Definitely. 100%.
We became the family outside of the family.
I wish the youth today, they have more older people like you trying to get them free game and stuff like that, but it's going to take a little while to get it through their head, but I just wish older people were a little more consistent with the youth and trying to help them out versus live with them and it's bad and then just kicking them to the streets, you know what I'm saying? I feel like we should take our time with the youth, really get to understand them, figure out why they're reacting like this, because I'm pretty sure they're not acting out for no reason. They got issues at home. They got issues at school. It's a little more serious now. You got kids killing kids, so they're dealing with a lot of stuff that a lot of people not realizing. But
there are a lot of people out here doing the work.
yeah, definitely. 100%.
And the ones that are out here doing the work, the kids just got to listen to them. Just got to listen to them. And, I was angry. I was an angry kid because I was upset the fact that I ain't had no dad.
Yeah.
Then I see you with nice suits on and I didn't have a nice suit. That troubled me, And true story, my senior year, I made all district in baseball.
Yeah.
I was one of the best first basemen during my year. When we lost 1-0, I'm in the dugout. I had a temperature of 104. The nurse told me I couldn't play. I told that nurse and the coach, I'm playing. I had 104 temperature, and I said, I never know if we ever gonna get this far again. I'm playing. So I played. I had a good game, great game actually. And I'm sitting in the dugout after it was over, and I'm sitting next to Gene White, which we're not related, but we're the same last name. Rest his soul, he just passed away. We're sitting in the dugout, and they took a picture of the both of us. My cleats had tape around them to hold them together. People didn't even, I mean, that's just how we live. We live with what we had, and we had what we lived with. So, we didn't complain, but today I could get anything I want. Getting power from my yesteryear and bringing it in today's time.
Definitely.
I'm not taking crutches with me, and the journey's going to be too long. Building blocks, stack them on top of each other, and once you get high enough, then stand on that block, and then now you're more than who you were before you put those blocks together. Take your troubled times and pile them up on top of each other, and stand on top of them so you can overcome all your troubles.
That's true, 100%. So you must have been all in growing up.
I was all in. I had an
All
older
in.
brother, who was wisdom. He gave me a lot of wisdom.
Yeah.
And then all the older gentlemen in the neighborhood. If I saw you and I knew you did well, you had a nice car, your kids were all dressed up. That means you as a man had, you had decent money because you were able to dress your kids up.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you. You're not my dad, but I want to talk to you. The when I worked at the community house, Russ Garris was, one of my first bosses. And his office was super dynamite. I went and I lost my mind. I saw those degrees on the wall, and I was like, why you got all these degrees? Well, the more degrees you have, the higher you can elevate. It resonated. I took that with me. Still carry it. I learned a lot of things from older people.
Yeah.
I used to be a supervisor in a printing company in North Haven. There was a man who was 99 years old, everything paid for, pension, got it going on, a Caucasian man. I'll take this to my grave. I said, don't lift that bag. It's heavy. Let the come over, young boy. Lift this bag for this man. He was like, no, I got it. It's like, why are you doing this? Why are you working?
Yeah.
He said, everybody, all his friends that retired, they stayed home, they all died. I'm taking that to my grave. I will move my body parts until God says, I need you now.
Got it.
Remember that. I need you now. I'm going to move every body part. So that means I'm not going to stop moving.
That's deep. That's deep. When you were playing for Cross, did they have like the same sport equipment as like other schools in the area?
Nah, I think we probably had their own equipment. Schools were different back then, and they still are today.
Yeah.
I know some of our stuff we had. I mean, I know when we was in school, we had a typewriter, ching, ching. And our suburban schools probably had laptops, but that's just a speculation. But I know the schools looked way better than ours. It took a while for New Haven schools to start changing the dynamic and the structure of the schools, which was a good thing, but it took so long for us to even. But now our books are not equivalent. Our books are not equivalent to our suburban schools. And here's a gem, and I'm gonna toss this gem up in the air. And for everybody that's listening, I want you to understand this gem. SATs. Why is it that suburban kids do well on SATs and inner city kids don't do as well? Well, when you take SATs, understand its structure, it's written in suburban terminology.
Yeah.
So our kids don't really understand what they're reading half the time. So that gives the people who understand that lingo an edge.
Yeah.
And they're always giving an
100%.
edge over our children. But we just got to keep pushing. We got to tell them all these apps, quit with the TikTok and the Facebook and all this stuff all day long, and utilize these phones that are so dynamic, and utilize them to learn stuff and to venture out into the world and see what's really going on in the world and do research.
Definitely.
And research after research. And you got the rest of your life once you become an adult to play with all that stuff.
Definitely.
Because you're going to be set, hopefully, with your family, your living arrangements, you'll be set. Then you can play with Facebook and all that. But as a kid, man, as a kid, go in, man, and get that education, get that knowledge, man, because that knowledge, I mean, they could take your shoes, they could take your chain, they can't take your knowledge, man.
Nah, can't, definitely. I agree. You know, that's why I try to tell the people around me, always take the opportunities that you're given, you know what I'm saying? For example, working at the Shack, I was working there 2 years straight, like volunteering work every day. We in there 7 in the morning, painting walls. Everybody around me like, yo, why you keep going every day? You're not getting no money. But they not seeing what I'm gonna get from this and the outcome. You know, working there 2 years, I started getting noticed. I got a presidential award now. You feel me?
Exactly.
Yeah. Then they didn't see the vision.
Right.
Now they see the vision. Now they calling my phone. Yo, what's up? What's going on at the Shack? You know, I tried to show them the vision before. They ain't want to see it.
Exactly.
But
see,
showing it.
the difference was you stayed in your lane.
Definitely.
You didn't let nobody detour you out of your lane, and that's how you got to the prize. And that's gonna look good on your resume.
100%.
That's gonna look good on your resume. So if I'm a corporation, I see that, I want you.
Yeah.
I want to hire you. You know, it's not about, you know, wow, yeah, resume looks good. It's about when can you start?
Yeah.
You know, and that's the last statement you want to hear when you're when you're in an interview. Is when can you start? And that means that you've done the work prior to coming there. You know, a lot of people hear, oh, we'll call you, we're still interviewing. When I leave a place, I don't want to hear them say, we're still interviewing.
Yeah.
I got to ace that.
Definitely.
I want to hear them say, well, when can you start? You know, when can you start? Can you start tomorrow? Can you start today? Can you start? You know, that's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear you still interviewing because that means I didn't do my job. Yeah. And the works don't start at the interview. It starts before. And you've done the work. So, you know, good luck to you in your future endeavors.
Thank you. Appreciate that. But I got another 2-part question for you. I understand that you play softball and you won the Connecticut State Championship back-to-back. Can you tell me when was that and what was the experience like?
Wow. Take me back to West Rock Park. West Rock Park. Doing it in the dock. Doing it at the dock. Oh, yeah. West Rock. Yo, let me explain something to you about West Rock.
Talk to me.
Yo, we was dynamic. We was like incredible. And we stumbled upon this. This is crazy. This is a true story. So during my time in high school, my senior year, I was pretty decent in basketball. And I got recruited by Ronnie Augustine, the late Ronnie Augustine, who ran West Rock Park, rest his soul. He recruited me to go to Florida to represent Connecticut in a basketball tournament. And a few of my other buddies, you know, Andre Agnew, Lindy Myers. So we brought 2 teams. And because I was the older, I ran the older team, and then my man Jeannie Myers he was a monster on the court. He ran the younger team, which was the A and B. And we went down to Florida and we represented, and we went all the way to the semifinals, and then we played the Boston Celtics.
Oh, wow.
These guys, we were 5'5", every bit of 5'5", and they was like, you know, 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". We're looking up at these guys, but we took them all the way down, man, and they did some dynamic play on Lindy Myers, man. Lindy stuck the kid shot on the backboard, and I think they got like a 7-point play out of it.
Yeah.
They said goaltending. They gave him the 2 points. They call a technical, which was 2 more points, and then they call a foul, and he got 2 more points, and that's how they beat us.
Wow.
So
Wow.
so we know we got the flim-flam. But anyway, on the way back, we're talking, and then Ronnie's talking about his team, and they got a softball team. And I was like, oh, word? Oh, yeah, we play a little softball too, you know. He said, well, come on, try for the team. We went out there, and they had a bunch of older men out there. It was like, yeah. But then there was some younger guys too, like the Moore brothers. You know, Mark Moore, Willie Joe Moore, James Moore. So those 3 guys, plus the 4 guys with me, Bobby Jones, Andre Agnew, Greg Morrison, that's like 7. So I'm like, if we get a couple more kids, young kids, we could really do something. So that first year, we took the bumps and bruises. So in 81, 82, we ended up winning the state championship.
Oh, wow.
And then back to back, we came back next year, we won it again. So we got inducted into the National Softball Hall of Fame. But the crazy thing was in the second round, we was in a loser's bracket. So you lose two. So we lost one. And then we got in the losers bracket, and we was down 15-4. And that's the fifth inning. It's only 7 innings. In the fifth inning, we ended up coming back, and we won. We played 7 games that day. And then that team that beat us, we played them in the championship.
7 games.
And we had to beat them twice because they beat us. They didn't have any losses.
Yeah.
And we already had won by them earlier. And we had to play 7 games in one day, and we won all 7 games. That's what put us in the Hall of Fame.
That's tough.
But West Rock, man, we had a dynamic squad, man. Oh, my God, that was a great team. You know, my man, Perry Flowers. Perry Flowers taught me how to play baseball.
Okay.
I think we was 5 and 6 years old, and we're playing against 20-something-year-old men.
Wow.
We was getting the mess beat out of us, but we're out there taking those bruises, and he had a vision, sort of like your vision. He had a vision. Yeah, you're 5 or 6 years old. You guys aren't going to win, but you're competing. And we were competing. And we got better as time went, man, and then we became a little older. It was it, man. It was it, man. But coming from where I'm from, man, yo, listen, we had some of the greatest, athletes, period.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
I went to school with Tracy Claxton, and I say this forever. She's the greatest female basketball player I've ever seen. And along with her guard, Karen Drawn, yeah, they called her Pie. She was she was a sensational guard. Then there was Bridget Williamson, Sharon Morgan used to throw the ball up to the ceiling and all nets from the side every single time. That's her shot. She would throw it up to it go all. Yo, I'm not kidding you. If you could, you had to be. Everybody during that time out there that's listening know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This girl would throw the ball up, and then Gail Trent was our Superman. She would get every rebound. She wasn't tall, but she was super. Man, we had a super dynamic. Man, I had the pleasure of seeing Super John Williamson play basketball.
What was that like?
Super John. Oh my God, he lived where I lived at, man. And this dude, like, you don't even miss. Like, how do you, like as kids, we wanted to be like him, because then he ended up going to play for the New Jersey Nets with Dr. J.
Oh, wow.
So we got to see him on TV. This was our neighborhood. This is our neighborhood hero, you know. And he made kids believe.
Definitely.
And then his brother Jiggy came up, and then Sue Campbell. When John graduated and went on to college, I think he played at New Mexico State. Jiggy and Sue took over Cross. They were the number 1 team in the nation.
That's tough.
To be the number 1 team in the nation, Mink Fernandez and Mickey Hurd, we had some great guys, man. You know, I played with these guys for fun in the gym, community gym, just playing with these guys, man, that aura. You know, when you're out there and you seeing it live, like, yo, I'm pushing guys and they ain't even missing. You know, Teddy Boyd, this little dude, he was so short. Yo, this dude Jay was crazy, man. Mink Fernandez was Steph Curry before Steph Curry.
Word.
Mink used to shoot from half court
Half court.
and not listen, and not miss. So we saw Steph Curry before Steph Curry, because Mink was our Steph Curry, because he didn't miss. And then you got to think, these guys, they all had sons. You know, Mo Williamson, Dink Fernandez. You know, then we had guys like Shaman Antrim, who was Washington State three-point specialist. You know, Pimp, they call him Pimp, P.I. He was lefty. Yeah. Oh, my God, man. We had some great games, man. You know, just growing up around this aura of people, man. You know, Billy Jones, Johnny Cummins, Charles Moore, my man Tom Slick. Oh, my God, rest his soul. He was a problem child. You know, my man Milton Jeanette. We had some Kevin Britton. And the greatest game ever told was when Wilbercross played against Mass, Patrick Ewing and Carl Hobbs. Carl Hobbs was the guard, and Patrick Ewing was the center. And Patrick Ewing, before he played us, he never lost a game in his life.
That's wild.
The first game Patrick Ewing ever left was against Earl Kelly, Jeff Hoffler, Anthony Cogdell, Kevin Britton. And I'm telling you, in downtown, Fred Brown, and listen, we had some of the greatest basketball ever to play here in this city and the Coliseum. And as a matter of fact, I think after we won that game, that's when the crack started happening in the Coliseum. They had to tear it down. Yeah. They tore down the Coliseum. Yeah. You know, but we we really, really, really did our thing, man. We had so much talent, man. We had so much talent in our projects, man. They split us up.
Yeah.
Half of us had to go to Hill House, and then the other half had to go to Cross. And what we didn't like, not that Hill House was better, it was just closer. So we had to walk past Jay's neighborhood, which was in the Ville. We had to walk past the Ville, go up the hill, snow, rain, sleet, go down the hill, sliding some days, sliding on the ice. You know, you don't know what, and then still had to walk to get to school, because we didn't have money for buses, our freshman and sophomore year. But those are some great times, man. Great times.
You sound like you came straight out of a movie, man. The stories you've been telling me, like you gotta write a book or something.
Speaking of a book,
Yeah.
I do have a book coming out. It'll be out at the end of this month.
Okay. I need that.
It's called See White and Black Ink.
See White and Black Ink.
Yeah, look for it. It's gonna be on Amazon. It's gonna be on Barnes and Noble's website. It's gonna be. I'm gonna have a website. Ex Libris Printing Company. They the ones who printed my book. It's a definitely need to read. It's a
I'm gonna
definitely
give me one of those for sure.
It's a definitely need to read, man, because I'm telling some stories. I'm talking about the inner city. I'm talking about what goes on in the inner city. I'm talking about how we always want to blame white people. White people's not our problem. We are. If the people who oppress you continue to oppress you and you continue giving them your money, then there's something wrong with you as a person.
100%.
I feel our oppressor created a calendar, and he put holidays, and he sprinkled holidays all throughout the calendar. And as long as we spend our money during when he tells us to,
Yep.
he stay in power. See, I don't celebrate no holidays because in the Bible it says don't celebrate the pagan holidays. So I don't celebrate any holidays, and that's when I do me. But, to each his own, people do what they do, and that's what I do.
Definitely, 100%. I want to thank you for coming out tonight and hopping on the show, sharing your story. Hopefully we could do it again, or maybe you could chop it up with Joe, and I'm able to watch it. Because the story you guys telling, man, y'all won't believe it.
No, actually, when the book come out, I'm looking forward to getting on the show with Joe, and talking about the book, man, because there's some stuff in this book, man. I wish I could do it right now, but I don't want to do it right now. I want to make sure I got product in hand. So, because I know once I walk out these doors, there might be people outside waiting for me saying, I gotta have one of those right now, man. Because I'm gonna tell you, part of it talks about God and the Word, and I'm like a junkie to the Word. I mean, I'm on the floor in the fetal. It's dope. It's dope. I want to give you just a little piece, but look for that interview with Jay.
Yeah. All right, everyone. I want to thank you for tuning in with Game Point. Everyone, enjoy your night. Yeah.